This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Touchdown, Houston! Are you kidding? What a catch! Oh, baby!
Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. We hope you're having a great one. This is Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Dougherty. This is Sean Pendergast of Sports Radio 610 of the Houston Texans pregame and postgame shows. Great to be with you. Doing all right?
Merry Christmas. I'm doing great.
Awesome. We've got a lot to discuss. This has been a bananas week, off the field, on the field, and just stick with us because he and I will cut it up in just a bit. But we start with some news of the week. And goodness gracious, the Texans were racked with COVID-19 cases, and we'll start with that in a little bit, but we begin with Davis Mills. It was his first NFL win as a starter at Jacksonville. Texans put 30 points on the Jaguars, and composure is something that Mills has much of.
I think the biggest thing is just staying to my routine and the kind of quarterback routine that we've laid out with Pep and the other quarterbacks and the strength staff, and just staying consistent to that. And making sure I'm getting my full week of preparation each week, going confident into the game.
One of the big reasons the Texans were triumphant on the road last week at Jacksonville, special teams, and namely Tremont Smith broke the game open with a 98-yard kickoff return for a score in the first quarter. He was named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
It means a lot being noticed by my peers, so I take a lot of pride in that, just being noticed around the NFL, and it just makes me want to keep working hard and just keep getting that same acknowledgement week in and week out.
A victory over the Jaguars last Sunday, but it's a big step up and a much tougher test with the Chargers in town at NRG Stadium on Sunday afternoon.
Well, one thing for sure is they're going to throw the football there. They throw the ball the fourth most of anybody in the team. They don't just throw it. They throw it very well. And they got weapons. It's a very, very, very good offensive football team. And basically what we've got to do is we got to play 1-11 defense. We got to keep the ball in front. They're going to make plays. They got playmakers. We just got to make sure that we don't give up any of the easy, explosive plays that they've gotten.
All right, that's some of the news of the week. And Sean, I don't know about you, but before we get going, I almost want to see if our producers can put a big asterisk at the bottom of this screen and say, hey, this might change because of COVID.
We definitely need a ticker.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. But Davis Mills, what we saw last week, pretty impressive. It was solid. And hey, whatever happens the rest of the way, and whether he gets COVID or not and is on out of the game or on the COVID list, what have you seen from him that gives you hope, and what must continue to happen? Because I don't think anybody right now is saying this guy is a lock for the franchise quarterback for the next decade. It could be, but nobody's saying that's a certainty.
No. I think Davis Mills' goal, I thought when he took over for the second time around as a starter a couple weeks ago, I thought Davis Mills' goal needs to be, reasonable goal needs to be to do enough to where Nick Caserio and his staff pause to think about what to do at quarterback in the offseason. Give them something to think about. Nobody's asking them to anoint him the starter next year, although I think right now he's the favorite in the clubhouse to be the starter in week 1 next year. But that's what he needs to do. As far as what he's done these first couple games back that I've seen that I liked, I think clearly he was watching in those games where he was on the bench and kind of picking some things up. He's doing things faster. He looks more comfortable. I think what he's doing against the blitz, I think, has been great. It needs to translate into 2 halves now. It can't be where it's just very top-heavy in the first half, but it was good to see them tack that touchdown on at the end with Brandon Cooks. But I just think he looks more comfortable, and he looks like the game slowed down for him a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think you brought up that point about the second half. He was not as good in the second half as he was in the first, but the difference between this week and last, A, you're playing the Jaguars, but B, he made a couple of completions, namely the one to Philip Dorsett that is on the first drive of that second half. It gets him into field goal range, and then the touchdown to Cooks at the end that puts the game out of reach. He called it the dagger. I mean, I thought that was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, you hadn't seen it before. This offense had been plagued by total dysfunction in the second half.
It had, he and Tyrod Taylor are so different. Davis Mills, in a perfect world, is making you defend the whole field because he's got a good arm. He's got tools. And I think we're seeing some of that too. He throws a nice ball. He's accurate. I really do. I think he checks a lot of boxes of the things that Nick Caserio looks for in a quarterback. I mean, obviously it stands to reason he selected him in the draft. But I do think just looking at New England and guys that they took there when Nick was in the building, it really seems to me they prioritize accuracy and intelligence, toughness, leadership. If you can mix that in with a little bit of mobility, great, but I think those things take priority. So these have been a good first couple games back for Davis, and now it's a step up in competition, step up in weight class here these next 3 games.
Yeah, and a step up without your best weapon. Your best player really on the team is Brandon Cooks. You don't see him because of the COVID-19 list. So how do you adjust? What else do you do?
Yeah, well, I think, look, this is going to be a game where you got to get the tight ends involved a little bit more, I would think. You know, the tight ends, I feel like we talk about it every season almost. We get all excited about whoever it is in training camp. And then, and then the tight end position kind of fizzles for this team. So I think the tight ends need to get involved. I think I'm actually kind of excited to see Nico Collins get a disproportionate amount of target. You know, I'm assuming he's going to get a lot of those. Those Brandon Cooks targets are going to go to Nico Collins. He seems to have some good chemistry with Davis Mills. So I'm kind of excited to see that. If we get a full game against the Chargers on Sunday where it's Davis Mills working the ball to Nico Collins, I think that's going to make Nick Caserio a more informed general manager going into the offseason.
Yeah, and Brevin Jordan. You bring up the tight ends. Brevin Jordan, I mean, he didn't get to play last week because of the hand injury.
Yeah.
But he was practicing earlier this week, so that was a positive sign. That's a step in the right direction because he was a guy, I think, like the rest of the rookie class, trending upward. We're going to get into more of the rookie class after the break. Talk a little bit about Garrett Wallow, but we got to discuss a nice pass by another rookie, Davis Mills. He found Philip Dorsett for a big gain, a 33-yarder in the second half. We referenced it a moment ago. And now we're going to go dig a little deeper. John Harris breaks it down with the Telestrator.
Welcome to Texans Telestrator, presented by BMW. I'm your host, John Harris. We're going to take a look at a key play in the Texans' win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it came against the dreaded Blitz Zero. Okay, here's what I mean. Here's Blitz Zero. Everybody's coming, everybody's covered, and there are 0 safeties to help in the back. That's Blitz Zero, which I'm sure you probably could have figured out on your own. But there's a lot going on this completion from Davis Mills to Philip Dorsett. So let's take a look at how it happened, because the Texans weren't doing this earlier in the year, but they did it and gave a lesson on how to do it. So we got a lot to point out here because the Jaguars are showing all these guys at the line of scrimmage. Let's start over here. Let's start with the trips. Let's start over here with the 3 receivers and the communication amongst the Jaguars. Watch these 3 guys right here. Okay, those 3 are going to be responsible for these 3 right here in the bunch. And so what they're going to do, seemingly, right now, is they're going to have Rudy Ford point up on Nico. He's got the point man. Wherever Nico goes, he's got him. And then Shaquille Griffin and Campbell are going to play inside-outside. So if the receivers go out or do something like that, they'll match up where the receivers go. But then Philip starts in motion. Okay? They get a signal. Look at Davis. Davis is signaling. Okay, look, guys, this is Blitz Zero. So now you see Davis start to give some hand signals. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's how we're going. And Philip goes back. What I like is when he goes in motion, watch Rudy Ford here. He communicates back to Tyson Campbell. Hey, look, we're going to play this inside-outside. Watch how they align right next to each other. That means they're going to play these guys inside-outside. When Philip comes back, they go to the original, which is we're going to put Rudy on the point. You got him wherever you go, lock the point, and then these guys playing inside-outside. Davis has communicated to his guys. Rudy Ford has communicated to his guys. And now you got to hope that the offensive line can hold up because they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys more than likely that are coming. And you've only got 6 plus Rex. Davis has got to beat one guy. Now I'm standing over here, so I can see wing guard number 42. I thought he was the guy. Now he's a little later coming because he was a little bit deeper. But they're going to get some guys through there. Right there, Damian Wilson's coming off the edge. He's the guy that Davis has to beat. He's got to throw the ball before Wilson can get into his face. And he does a great job of throwing that thing all the way here. But look at where he throws it and where Philip is. He's trusting Phillips getting to this spot. Now, let's go look at the route. This is a great route here. I love this. And you run this out of different formations. And essentially, it's a tight bunch, but you can run this out of 3 wide receivers as such. These guys in, and then he runs the corner. And they're going to do this out of bunch, and the hope being that somebody gets rubbed off and then a guy comes wide open. Now, you'll see Nico push up, and then he and Cooks are going to both break in. All right? Phillip, knowing they're playing inside-outside, knows that Campbell's got to go with Cooks. So that's going to leave all this space out here to just get into. If they're going to play inside-outside, you got this guy right there. And you just take him. He takes away your inside leverage, so you go outside. Had Griffin jumped on the outside, he would have broke into the inside. But this time, Griffin's on the inside. Dorsett beats him. And look at that ball just come out of the earth. Look, watch it just come out of the sky. Whoop. I mean, look how pretty that is. Just right, bang. I mean, that's beautiful. That is how you beat Blitz 0.
(2013) Week 1, the Houston Texans in the final game of the first weekend. It's the late night of the doubleheader on Monday Night Football at San Diego, and they were down for most of this game. First pass of the game picked off by Matt Shaw threw an interception. Chargers jumped out to a lead, and this was late.
Yeah.
Texans still behind, but they were much closer. And Brian Cushing, maybe the play of his career.
Yeah, no doubt. He had a bunch of them, especially early on in his career. But he was coming back off the injury from the year before. And you'll see Cush right here. The Chargers are going to give motion. We've seen this a few times. Running back motion or just motion shift is going to give an indication, as we take a look right here on our surface, about man versus zone. So what you see here, the adjustment the Texans make is to take from a too-high look. Shiloh Ko is going to buzz down. Okay, so he's going to buzz down right there, and you also see linebacker, bang, going to hit that A gap, and then Daniel Mann is going to go to the middle of the field. This is essentially cover 3 deep zone. That's what it turns into. But Cush, with nobody in the middle of the field, reads Phillip Rivers' eyes immediately because Rivers anticipated, I believe, man coverage. Because he did, when he saw Ko out here, he felt like that was going to be a wide open lane to throw that football, when in fact the Texans were playing a cover 3 buzz, and that left Brian reading the eyes of Rivers, then lay out. Oh, look at the big fella layout. This is awesome stuff. Watch this layout. And then to have the wherewithal to get into the end zone for the touchdown. Let's take a look at it from the opposite side, because you really get an idea of Brian making this catch. And just reading, I mean, Phillip's eyes never moved off of Woodhead. And then look at that catch. My goodness, look at that layout. And then get up, and then look at this, convoy, getting him into the end zone. Everybody getting a block, and then Cush getting in the end zone. Biggest play in a game that did not look at any point like it was a W. None whatsoever. And somehow, miraculously, they won that one, and then ended up losing a lot of others down the road of that season.
They won that one, they won the next week, and then they didn't win again until 2014. It was a rough go of it in 2013, but not that night. That was a fun one, late on the West Coast, and it was a fun ride back. Got back in the middle of the morning, driving home against rush hour traffic. So Brian Cushing with a hell of a play there. That was 2013, late on a Monday night to start that season off.
I was there.
You
I was
were?
at that
All
game.
right,
Yeah, that was the last season before I got to Sports Radio 610.
That's right.
Full time. I was at another station in town, so I used to travel to a couple Texan road games a year. San Diego, fun road trip.
Awesome road trip.
And it was a Monday night game, so Amy and I just went to Mission Beach all day Sunday and went to all the different bars that have different fan bases in each of them.
So this guy bragging.
Nice. It was fun. Can't do that anymore. No team in San Diego.
Let's talk some defense. takeaways has clearly been the strength of this defense.
Yeah.
What else has impressed you as far as what they've done in 2021?
Yeah, I think, honestly, Drew, like the fact that they've been able to kind of piece this whole thing together and have an average defense with a lot of one-year guys and a lot of veteran cast-off guys, and there's no real star on this defense. Heck, if you come into the year and you say, okay, who's got the potential to be this star on the defense? That guy's playing in Tennessee now. It's Zach Cunningham, right? He was the highest paid guy on this defense coming into the year and probably the guy with the biggest physical skill set of anybody. So I think that's maybe just the way that Lovie Smith's been able to put this thing together. And I think the way that Lovie Smith has adapted with this defense too. He played so much cover 2 early in the year and they were getting torn up. He's really kind of, I won't say he's gone away from what his principles are, but he's mixed in some more blitzing selectively here and there. He's not a guy who likes to blitz a lot, but he's done that from time to time, and he's just kind of changed things up and adapted to what he has out there.
He's going to get tested Sunday against the Chargers.
Big time.
I mean, this is one of the most impressive offenses around. What do you think scares you the most if you're a defensive coordinator?
The lack of bodies that are out there. I mean, that's honestly, if from a Texans perspective, that's what scares me. You're missing 6 defensive linemen. Right. You're missing a bunch of guys in the secondary. It looks like Justin Reed is going to be back off a concussion protocol. That helps. You may need him to kick, too.
I was going to say, yeah, he's probably filling in for Kaimi.
As far as what scares me with the Chargers, though, it's just their big playability. You know, Justin Herbert, his arm is just otherworldly. His ability to sling it down the field and the weapons that he has out there, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. I mean, these are guys that they can really attack you downfield. And the Texans have been susceptible at times to big plays, as we saw 2 weeks ago with Seattle in town.
All right, we got some Texans trivia. Okay, listen to this. The Texans have beaten the Chargers twice, in 2013, like we mentioned earlier, and then a couple seasons ago in 2019. They threw 6 touchdown passes combined in those games, and they all went to tight ends. Name them. We'll have that answer later on.
Eight down on me. 1, 2, 3. 8 down.
Fun times, the last trip to Los Angeles for the Texans, but they're coming here, the Chargers are.
Was that in the soccer stadium?
It was.
Yeah.
It was a nice day. It was a warm day, but it was a lot of fun. Texans triumphant that day. It was week 3, 2019. Yep. Sean Pendergast is the guest. These are the Ford Studios. You're watching Texans Extra Points. How hard is it to prognosticate this game just because of everything that's happened COVID-wise?
It's impossible. Yeah, especially, boy, if you're a fantasy owner, it's really tough. This is championship week for a lot of fantasy owners, and there's Austin Eckler owners this week. They're like, no! Brandon Cooks owners that are probably like that. So there's that. I don't know that it's tough to prognosticate the outcome of the game. The Texans are a big underdog in this game. The Chargers are a really good football team. Now, if something were to happen to Justin Herbert, then all bets are off. Then all of a sudden, it's a winnable game anyways because it's the NFL and you're at home.
Yeah.
But you're right, just across the league in general, this game and all the games, the news that can drop. Jonathan Grenard, we found out Saturday late afternoon. He's been their best defensive player this year. So this is stranger, Drew, than I think anything that I've ever covered in terms of impact on the game week to week.
Whether he plays or not, is Herbert an elite quarterback in your mind?
I think he is. Definitely elite tools. There's no doubt about that. I think usually you got to wait for him to do something in the postseason to give the elite the overall elite moniker. You got to have some pelts on the wall at that point. He's definitely a quarterback I would buy stock in. He's the quarterback I would buy stock in out of that draft class with Joe Burrow, Tua. And Joe Burrow's been nice, but Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert, you're asking me which one you got to buy stock in. It's Herbert for me, easily.
No doubt. All right, we got the answer to the Texans trivia question, plus we got Ticketmaster keys to a win. Don't go anywhere. This is Texans Extra Points.
Texans Extra Points has been sponsored by BHP, by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by Cigna, together all the way.
We had Texans trivia earlier in the show. The Texans have thrown 6 touchdown passes in their 2 wins, which were in 2013 and 2019, against the Chargers. Who are the tight ends that caught them? You got a guess?
Well, I know Owen Daniels caught 2 of them because I was listening to the show a little bit earlier. I know Jordan Akins caught at least 1. There was a catch and run.
Actually, had 2, yeah.
So he had 2 in that game. Was there a Garrett Graham joint in there?
Bingo, in
2013. 2013, and then was the other one in 2019 also?
The other one was 2019. There were 4 total. I'd never sorted that fact out.
Okay, was there Jordan Thomas?
Close. Darren Fells caught a touchdown pass.
Darren Fells.
So Darren Fells.
Yeah.
Garrett Graham. Owen Daniels and Jordan Akins. Sean
a good
Pendergast of Sports Radio 610. I'm Drew Dougherty here with the Houston Texans. We got to get into Ticketmaster keys to a victory. What must the Texans do to win?
I think they got to keep those wide receivers for the Chargers in front of them. Keep them on the front side of you, not on the back side of you. Don't give up big plays is basically what I'm saying. They got to do everything they didn't do against Tyler Lockett 2 weeks ago against Seattle. Don't give up big plays. Make the Chargers work their way down the field. There's no Austin Eckler to lean on for them to kind of grind out those yards. So if they got to do it with Justin Herbert's arm, make them work for it. That's number one. And number two, as I mentioned, this is not a good Chargers team against the run. Now, it's not a good Texans team running the football, but this can be a game where if they're going to keep Davis Mills comfortable, they should be able to do it. They should be in some 2nd and 4s and 2nd and 5s in this game. Keep Davis Mills in comfortable down and distance situations.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's tough to ask at this stage of the season, hey, let's get 150 yards on the ground, because you just haven't seen that.
Right.
You saw it in week 1, but that was an outlier. So to compensate for that, to kind of get a run game in a different way, keep that screen game going. Keep those short passes going. So you're chewing up clock. You're keeping that guy Herbert off the field, and you're making the chains move and keeping, like you say, Davis Mills in comfortable situations. And my second one, let's get another pop play. Nice some heat from special teams. We saw it in spades all across. It wasn't just the 98-yard touchdown return. I mean, that was a heck of an effort all around from the special teams, whether it was your punter, your kicker, or whoever was doing it.
Yeah, those field goals in that game last week were set up by the defense shutting down Trevor Lawrence, and then the special teams getting them field position in the kicking game. You're absolutely right.
All right, they're wearing the color rushes, so it's like kind of a deep steel blue Sunday tomorrow. So those are snazzy uniforms. And hey, come out and see us. Merry Christmas. So a little secondary Christmas gift. A Texans game would be nice. Experience game day together. Go to HoustonTexans.com/tickets and come hang out with guys like me and Sean and the rest of your Houston Texans.
It's a big selling point.
It is. It is. Yeah. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. Merry Christmas to you and the fam.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to all of you, and we can't wait to do this again on New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, baby.
It'll be 2022. Go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.